Culturally, rabbit is a lot of our Ojibwe staple foods, you know, that we used to eat and that a lot of us grew up on. The Waabooz the rabbit soup, is always a favorite amongst the communities. It's a good thing to keep our young ones in the woods, in nature, and learning about our culture. Overall, trapping is a dying art. I learned it when I was really young. I had my older brother as the one who taught me how to make and set the snares. I was blessed to have some people who guided me and showed me, you know, a couple elders who talked to me about trapping, and I have two good friends who trapped years before me. They're very avid trappers and they gave me lots of good tips. The winter time you get more of a prime fur. Our skin is actually a little thicker. The hair stays in better when you're doing the tanning process. But winter, midwinter, all that, that's the perfect time to go after the fur-bearing animals. They're super prime then. What I have to show you today is rabbit snaring. And what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna show you how to make a rabbit snare out of picture frame wire, as well as places that rabbits like to be. I'm going to show you how to track rabbits. So a snowshoe hare is different from a rabbit in a sense. Rabbit is a cottontail is what we got around here. We're going after snowshoe hare. They turn white in the winter time. Cottontails stay brown. So today, when you're out rabbit snaring, you're going to want to get yourself a good clippers. The key is building your lock. We're going to call our lock first, and that's just taking a loop, looping it around itself, and you're making a little loop just like that. And then I want this tail to be wrapped around at least 4 times. So now you got this little loop at the end that you made. Now you're going to go like this, and you're going to kind of gauge the length of snare that you need. So what you're going to do is take this cable and run it through this loop, but you want to make the size snare that you want for a rabbit. It's roughly about that big. What you'll do then is you need to have extra so you can tie off your snare. So I usually like to leave about this much, and then you'll clip it off. And what I like to use is either a little willow stick or something. This is called a drag stick. And what we'll do is we'll tie our snare onto this. See, I ran the snare through that loop now. So you got this round shape. Then you're gonna take your snare and you're gonna wrap it around once, around twice, and then you're gonna wrap it around the cable itself. Again, at least 4 times. And make sure it's kind of tight on that stick so it don't slide around or slide off your stick. So now, ultimately, this trap is ready. And all you gotta do is find a rabbit trail. You just stick that stick in the snow. Say, this is the trail here. And I'm just gonna put that stick in the snow and I'm gonna have that snare just above the ground, a little ways. And then sometimes it's kind of a wide open area so you can grab some other little twigs and whatnot from other branches and you kind of block that rabbit down on his trail so he makes sure he goes through that snare. So just something like that. It's all you need for a rabbit snare. So we got some snares and we can go take a look and see if we caught anything last night. We're gonna stop right here. So if you all come here and look to the left, you'll see rabbit tracks. Those are actually rabbit tracks. And all that is their foot, they're jumping and their feet spread out. And that's why it looks so big. But these are all rabbit tracks here. Now, if you notice the type of woods that we're into, pay attention to that, because that's where rabbits will hang out a lot. If you look around and you see all this fresh cut wood, popple, the rabbits love to eat that, and being there's fresh popple on the ground, the rabbits are gonna wanna gravitate to this area to eat. And then what those trails are back there are trails that are just crossing the road. If you pay attention to rabbits, they'll most likely always have a main trail going parallel with the edge of the woods. And often, sometimes 2 trails they'll have running. And those are main trails. They like to travel on those, so those are real good ones to set. And that's what I set back here, was the ones that run parallel. So I have one snare over here. You see it? Oh, we got it. We got a Waabooz. So if you notice right there, you see that trail running right close to us here, right? That's where I had the snare set. And because he was on this drag, he was able to run off of that trail and then get tangled up. So you see, I didn't get him by the foot, but he got caught right by the neck. Perfect catch. That's how you want to catch them. There is times when you're out trapping that these animals will still be alive in the snare when you find them. And it's a hard thing to do, but if you're gonna keep that animal, dispatch them as soon as you can. And don't let them suffer very, very long. I set this one last night, right before dark. That's the best time you wanna set. They travel the most at nighttime. So that's when you check them right away the next morning. They got very tasty meat. That fur is just beautiful. You can make some beautiful things with that fur. We'll take them back to camp and we'll clean them up. Back up for him. And I'll let you, since you retrieved it. And you just thank that Waabooz money do for giving his life for us, to help us, to help teach us, and to help nourish us. Miigwech Waabooz. So basically what I'd like to do is just, I start with the legs. I'll just go around them legs. Make sure you cut down to the bone all the way around. So I'm just going down the back of the legs to the vent. Then you'll take and you'll start to peel. And their skin is really super thin, so you kind of got to be a little bit careful when it comes to rabbits. So now we're all down to there, right? So you can kind of use your fingers and you can kind of lightly pull on that fur. You can clean them much faster than this too if you're not trying to save the hide. Before you get to the front legs, you're going to want to take and cut around his front legs too. But you don't need to make any cuts down the leg. Just on the front, it's just around. So all I'm doing is just working it down. Now you'll see them front legs pop out. So that's all you simply do is just pull the legs through. And you can pop your finger through there, and then you just pull their leg right out of there. So then when I get ready to tan this, I'll just find the belly, and I'll cut right up the belly so it folds open and flat. But as far as this, I'll save the skull because I know people who use the skulls. So I'll take the head off. They used to make the rabbit head soup, You'd see the old Mindamuyen sucking the eyeballs out of the head. Now, when you're gutting it, you got to make sure there's a little diaphragm right here. And you got to make sure you get up past that diaphragm too, because their vitals are past that diaphragm. So they got more guts up a little further, the kidneys and the heart. And then you also want to pop his little pelvis bone here. And then finish cleaning out the rest of that. You can chop their little tail off. Now the whole thing is meat, so when you're prepping up soups and stuff, you got your hindquarters here you can take off. Cut those right from the pelvis here. You'll find this little joint right here. As long as you get around that little knob there, that hindquarter will come right off. And then you also have back straps. Different ways you can quarter it up like this. I've seen them just chop them up a little bit and throw everything in there and just cook it. You can fry rabbit meat, bake it, I suppose. There's different ways you can play around with eating rabbit. That was a lot of our staple food back in the day was rabbit soup. But then you still got little chunks you can save to put in the stew. There's meat on there. There's also this stuff here by the ribs I'll usually take. But then you just got the front shoulders, so it's kind of the same thing as hind ones. You just cut it off. That's about all the meat you're gonna get off, a single rabbit. So you're gonna kind of want 3 rabbit is what you want to catch to get a decent pot of soup. That's basically all there is to cleaning a rabbit. And like I said, you can also do all this without even a knife. And then you'll have a meal ready to cook. So miigwech.